Hey y'all, I'm Amber, 34, female. Growing up, I was always the quiet goth kid in the family. My sister, Yuma, was the complete opposite, a stereotypical Malibu Barbie, and all the boys seemed to adore her during high school. To be honest, I felt pretty insecure about it back then because people would only get close to me so that they could get closer to Uma. It was a huge hit to my stupid hormonal teenage ego. Then the unthinkable happened. A boy liked me for me. I thought I'd found true love and acceptance when I met Eric, my husband in college. It felt like he loved me for who I was, and for the first time I was genuinely happy. But Yuma has this superiority complex. Growing up popular and always having boys fawning over her made her crave and expect attention. She was the classic pick-me girl, always seeking validation from men because she was accustomed to it. Plus, she was a total daddy's girl, and Dad spoiled her endlessly. Our dad, Richard, had a unique way of bonding with us. He appreciated my love for building and engineering as well as my dedication to hard work, so we'd spend time working on the cars during the weekend. He'd take me to museums and just help me build stuff like Lego sets and other things. He was quite wealthy, but he remained humble, and I'm sure he appreciated our time together. Yuma, on the other hand, seemed only interested in material things. So to bond with his precious baby girl, he'd just comply with everything and anything she wanted, which was a bad move on my dad's part, I'll admit. And I don't like speaking ill on the dead, but don't worry because he even used to say he was spoiling her too much. So as I implied earlier, my dad passed away, and it hit all of us like a truck. He was my best friend, and I really didn't know how I was going to navigate life without him. So there we were, gathered around Dad's deathbed, me, Mom, Mina, and Yuma. Dad was expressing his love for each of us, and it was both heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time. He wanted peace, especially after he was gone, and he didn't want any family feuds over his will. Typical Dad, always trying to avoid the drama. I can't say I blame him. Living with 3 girls for all those years can kill a man. Which I guess was what happened, LOL. The funeral we held for Dad was beautiful, and everything went as smoothly as it could under the circumstances. We wanted to honor his memory in the best way possible, and I think we succeeded. R.I.P. Baba. But, of course, after the funeral came the dreaded reading of the will. Like I said, my dad was rich, and although we didn't care too much about money, Dad's words were ominous when he said he didn't want us to fight, meaning that someone, most likely Yuma, would be upset because she was spoiled and wanted everything. We all met up with the lawyer to discuss Dad's wishes. Eric decided to come to show me emotional support, and I appreciated it, considering it was a somber occasion. Sitting there, waiting for the lawyer to arrive, I noticed something that made my blood boil. Yuma was being blatantly flirtatious with Eric right in front of me. Surprisingly enough, the flirting alone didn't surprise me. It wasn't the first time, like I said. For lack of better words, Yuma was an attention snore. Rhyme snore with that other word? I can't say. But on this day of mourning, it was infuriating. Yuma had a knack for shamelessly flirting with Eric and then blaming it on alcohol or calling me prudish for being uncomfortable. But this time I'd had enough. It felt like she was disrespecting not only me but Dad's memory too. Eric, you look so handsome in that suit. It really brings out your eyes.
Thanks, Yuma. I appreciate that.
Have you been working out? Really? Today? What? I know you can't go 2 seconds without getting attention, but can you please have some dignity? It's embarrassing. I was just trying to lighten the mood. It's so depressing here. Lighten the mood? Dad just died, Yuma. This is his funeral. Have some respect. You're such a pig. Amber! Stay out of it, Mom. Guys, maybe we should calm down a bit. Yuma and I bickered for a bit, exchanging some nasty words, as sisters do, I guess, and that's when Mom chimed in. The lawyer is finally here. Let's not have any drama, okay? We need to focus on Dad's will. I will pull the both of you out of there if you start anything. Fine, but seriously, Amber, you need to chill. Chill? You're the one flirting with my husband on the day of Dad's funeral. Let's not fight, please. We're all upset and arguing won't help. That's right. Dad wouldn't want us to fight over this. I'm sorry, Amber. I didn't mean to upset you. Well, just keep it in check, okay? This isn't the time or place. The lawyer is ready to begin, so let's gather around and listen to Dad's wishes. Fine, whatever. Let's just get this over with. The tension in the room remained thick as we all sat down waiting for the lawyer to start reading Dad's will. The lawyer started reading Dad's will, and as expected, Mom received the bulk of Richard's assets. She had always been the one whom Dad had relied on the most, so it made sense. Plus, those were worth millions, so Mom was going to be fine for a long time. Next up was Yuma's portion of the will. To everyone's surprise, she had been left with a whopping $5 million. Yuma couldn't help but flash a triumphant grin. She started talking about all the crap she'd buy, but the lawyer had to cut her off to continue. Then came the moment of truth as the lawyer began to read my part of the will. I held my breath, curious about what Dad had decided to leave me. The lawyer's words caught me completely off guard. Amber, your father has bequeathed to you a property known as Cordon Blanc. I couldn't believe my ears. Cordon Blanc? That was a house Dad had always talked about wanting to buy. But it was an old, run-down place, practically falling apart. I glanced at Eric, who had already started searching for information about the property online. As Eric pulled up pictures of the deserted house, it looked even worse than I remembered. I felt a mix of confusion and frustration. Now, before you all start, I want you to understand that I never really cared much for money. I was privileged enough to not need for anything, and I already have money, so getting more didn't mean much to me. But I'm not going to lie, compared to everyone else, it seemed like I got such a crappy gift. Like, what the hell, Dad? Was this the drama he was talking about? I was snapped out of my thoughts when I heard Yuma's laughter. Amber, you got an old creepy house. Well, I guess we now know who Dad's favorite really was. Yuma, what did I say? I just don't understand. Maybe he wants you to fix it up, Just like old times? Mom, I loved fixing up old crap when I was 12. I barely have time for my work, let alone working on a fixer-upper. This is gold. I need to record this. Why would he leave me this, Mom, huh? Tell me. I don't know, sweetheart. I wish we could ask him, but, well, we can't. I'm sorry you're disappointed with your gift. If you'd like, we could split up some assets. No, I don't want the assets, Mom. It's okay. He left me this house, and I guess I'll find something to do with it. Thanks, Dad, I guess. A couple of days passed after the will reading, and things were far from settling down. I was still trying to wrap my head around why Dad had left me that run-down house, Cordon Blanc. It was baffling, to say the least. Then, one evening, as I was going about my business at home, I heard a knock at the door. I wasn't expecting anyone, so I was surprised when I opened the door to find Yuma standing there, holding what appeared to be a legal document. Hey, sis, I'm here to deliver the title deed to Cordon Blanc. Why are you delivering it? Are you here to gloat? Gloat? Of course not. I just thought you'd want this. It's yours now, after all. I sighed, not in the mood for her games, but Yuma wasn't about to back down. By the way, how's Eric? He's been looking so good lately. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. You need to stop flirting with my husband. This isn't Hamilton, okay? Excuse me? You are making my husband uncomfortable with your flirting. Amber, you're such a killjoy. It's all in good fun. Besides, you know you're allowed to flirt with my boyfriend, so there's no harm, really. I'm in a happy marriage, and I have no interest in flirting with your little boy toys, okay? Just as I said that, Eric came down the stairs, and I could feel my frustration growing. Yuma greeted him with a hug, and they exchanged pleasantries. Then, to my utter surprise, Yuma asked Eric if he had any issues with her flirting. I held my breath, waiting for the response. No, not at all. I hid my anger. I was obviously planning another funeral in my head. I couldn't believe he'd said that. Yuma took this opportunity to gloat some more and say, "See? See?" in that annoying voice of hers. Yuma took his response as an open invitation to overstay her welcome, and they started playing board games and watching TV together. I was too furious to say anything without blowing up, so I grabbed the letter with the title deed and tossed it into my desk drawer before retreating to my work. I had to work to get my mind off of all the nonsense that was coming to my way lately. As I tried to focus on my work, I couldn't help but feel like I was losing control of my own life. My dad apparently hated me, and now my man was okay with my stupid sister flirting with him. I'm not going to lie, I was triggered. I was transported back to those moments when I was neglected at home, at school, my friends, and potential boyfriends. It sucked. Always being put last place, or worse, not even being remembered at all. After Yuma finally left, Eric found me fast asleep at my desk. He shook me awake and I felt like crap, feeling both exhausted and frustrated. Amber, you fell asleep here. Yeah, no thanks to the company you had. I was in no mood for niceties. I needed answers. Why on earth did you tell Yuma it was okay for her to flirt with you? Do you like it or something? What? No, of course not. Then what the hell, Eric? Haven't I been embarrassed enough? I didn't want to make things awkward, Amber. So you were willing to sacrifice your wife for your sister-in-law? Interesting. Don't make it sound like that, Amber. Geez, I'm sorry, okay? What do you want me to do? Eric, you're my husband. You should be on my side. You should stand up for me. Eric muttered an apology, but it did little to squash my suspicions. Something just didn't feel right, and I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this than met the eye. A couple of weeks passed, and the tension in the house was thicker than Megan the Stallion. Eric and I were like strangers living under the same roof. It was awkward and annoying. Every time I tried to bring it up, he brushed it off, insisting that nothing was wrong, that he was just tired from work and stuff. But I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to it. One evening, after another silent dinner, I decided it was time to confront Eric about his attitude. I waited until we were both in the living room, and I mustered up the courage to speak my mind. Eric, we need to talk about this. You can't just keep avoiding the issue. What issue? Don't play dumb, Eric. Amber, there's really nothing to talk about, I promise. Don't lie to me, Eric. I know there's something going on in your mind, and I noticed it ever since Yuma came that time. Oh, are you still not over that? What the frick did you just say to me? Look, I'm just saying, maybe Yuma is right. Right about what? Maybe you need to lighten up more. What? I'm just saying, maybe you'd benefit from letting loose every now and then. You're just so uptight. I mean, have you felt your shoulders? In no time, you'll be looking like the hunchback of Notre Dame. I was shocked, you guys. I didn't even know how to respond to that. Do you like her? What? Do you like her? Of course not. Why would you say that? I explained to him how it made me feel when he always took her side over mine, and he kept on meeting me with, "Well, I don't mean it that way," and "You're being crazy." I was too tired to argue with a grown man who was acting like a stupid teenager, so I just marched my behind upstairs to go and sleep. I was so tired of being in last place. The next morning, I woke up to find Eric sleeping beside me, his phone lying next to him on the nightstand. There was something gnawing at the back of my mind, a sense that I couldn't ignore. Call it women's intuition. I had this gut feeling that there was more to this whole situation than met the eye. Without giving it much thought, I reached for Eric's phone. What I found left me speechless, hurt, and angry. There were dozens of text messages between Eric and his friends discussing Yuma. They were talking about how attractive she was, how he had dropped the ball when he chose to be with me, and what stung the most was that Eric hadn't defended me or our relationship in any of those messages. He was laughing it off in stereotypical male fashion, just trying to be one of the bros, I guess. It felt like he just crapped all over my heart. I couldn't contain my anger any longer. I held the phone high and threw it at Eric's head. He got up instantly, of course, startled and confused, asking what the hell had just happened. If I wasn't so angry, I would have laughed. "What the hell is this, Eric? What are you talking about?" "Don't play stupid with me. These messages, Eric, about my sister, Yuma? You and your buddies are talking about wanting to smash and having a turn. You guys are freaking sick. How could you talk about her that way? And why the hell weren't you defending me? You dropped the ball, huh? Huh? Amber, I can explain." "Explain? You have friends discussing how much they want my sister, and you say nothing to shut them down. What kind of husband does that? What kind of man does that?" "It was just locker room talk, Amber. I didn't mean any of it." "Locker room talk? Why the hell are you saying that? As if it's normal? Do you know how sick that crap is? You're disgusting." Eric tried to apologize and make excuses, but I wasn't having any of it. My trust in him had been shattered, and I couldn't simply brush this off as harmless banter. Our relationship had been tainted by what I saw, and I needed answers, no matter how painful they might be. I was so pissed I couldn't stand to look at him any longer. I kicked him out of the house without a second thought. He protested, asking where he was supposed to go, but I was beyond caring at that point. "You can stay anywhere but here." He left, and a couple of days went by, and I expected him to come back, to apologize, to try to fix our shattered relationship. But he never did. He didn't return my calls or messages, and the silence was deafening. After a month, the loneliness was unbearable. I felt like a failure, like I had pushed away the person I loved because of my anger and hurt. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was always the one left behind, always the one left out in the cold. A few more days passed, and Eric returned to the house. But he brought an unwelcome surprise with him. Yuma. I was seeing red, and I couldn't contain myself. I tried to slap Eric, but he grabbed my hand, preventing me from making things worse. "I knew it! You two were messing around this whole time. Why are you with her? What the hell is happening?" Eric tried to explain that nothing had happened between them before he got kicked out of the house, so I technically had no grounds to say that they were messing around the whole time. But when he got kicked out, he reached out to Yuma to crash because she had always been a friend to him. That friendship, however, had turned into something more. Yuma chimed in, adding that they had grown closer in the house, and one thing led to another, and now they wanted to be together. She then had the audacity to claim that she was doing me a favor by showing me that Eric wasn't cut out for married life if he could be so easily stolen. "How could you both do this to me? What the hell is wrong with you?" Eric attempted to justify himself, mentioning the $5 million inheritance that Yuma received. He said it was a sign that my father saw potential in her, and he wanted to explore what he felt with her.
Your father? Don't you dare speak his name.
Amber, you need to calm down.
Does Mom know about this?
Well, no, but that doesn't matter.
Yuma had a smug look on her face, and that was the last straw for me. I couldn't take it anymore. I yelled at both of them, ordering them to get out of my life for good. Yuma and Eric attempted to reason with me, but I was beyond reason at that point. I was yelling and breaking things in an angry state. Eventually they left, and I was left alone in the mess I had created. I felt like a sobbing mess, utterly hopeless and embarrassed.
Why did this have to happen to me?
At that moment, something clicked in my mind. I remembered the title deed to that stupid, worthless house, Cordon Blanc. I felt a connection to it, abandoned and unwanted, just like how I felt. I decided to open the letter, thinking that fixing up the property could maybe serve as a new distraction from the pain of my upcoming divorce. As I opened the letter and unfolded the paper, I found the title deed to the house, but what caught my eye was something unexpected. A mineral report. According to the report, the property had a buttload of valuable minerals beneath it, making it incredibly valuable. Girl, hold on, because what I saw will shock you. As I read on, I discovered that the property was worth $20 million. I almost couldn't believe my eyes, so I put on my glasses to make sure I was reading it correctly. Sure enough, the number on the paper read $20 million. I almost fell down. My heart raced as I noticed there was another letter tucked inside the envelope, a handwritten letter from my dad, Richard himself. I started sobbing uncontrollably. The letter read, "You have always been my diamond in the rough. I'm sorry the world doesn't see the way you shine, but I do. I always have. Please take this. I wanted us to do this together, but I see that I don't have time. You'll be all right, kiddo. You're stronger than you think. And please, for the love of God, don't make my house ugly. With all the love in my heart, Dad." I think I cried an ocean that night. I finally felt seen and heard. I finally felt like I had some value, and my Baba showed that to me. And I'm forever grateful for him and his love. I sat on that valuable information for a while, carefully planning how to make the most of Cordon Blanc. The divorce with Eric, thanks to our prenup, went relatively smoothly and was finalized in just about a month. Thank God. Meanwhile, Eric and Yuma seemed to be enjoying their newfound happiness together in their little bubble of bliss. It was disgusting. That is, until I decided to reveal the true worth of Cordon Blanc. I shared the news in our family group chat, which Eric was still part of, and the reactions were nothing short of explosive. Messages from my mom came pouring in, congratulating me and mentioning how she always knew the house would be great. My mom in particular was very happy for me, saying that this was a beautiful gift. Then came the calls and texts from Yuma and Eric, but I chose to ignore them. They grew increasingly furious through their messages. Yuma was outraged, insisting that there must be a mistake, while Eric pleaded to work things out. Little did they know I was already in the process of obtaining restraining orders against both of them. It was only my mom who knew about this, and she agreed, saying that Yuma and Eric did me dirty with their stupid hormones and egos. It was really crazy to me to see just how insecure these people were, despite acting so high and mighty. It was disgusting. But the universe did me a favor with that timing, I'm not going to lie. And I'm so grateful that Eric and Yuma won't have a cent of this money. I'm currently working on my baby project to make sure it honors my father in the best way possible. I miss you, Dad. I'm doing this for you. And screw you both, Yuma and Eric. God, it feels good to get my lick back.